So, hello everybody and welcome! Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network here today. We welcome you back here on BSN Network here. It is Tuesday, June 2nd here today. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. We got a lot of sports to get to. Some news in college sports, some news in pro sports, ton of sports to get to today. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. It's Tuesday, June 2nd, Tuesday, almost getting there, almost halfway through the week. Hopefully everybody's doing good. Like I said, hopefully everybody had a good rest of the day yesterday and is having a good day so far today. We got a ton of sports to talk about. We got Justin Ross, Clemson, and the Chargers. Justin Ross, Clemson's best receiver, goes down. X-ray showed, got a spinal injury. We're going to talk about that. That's huge. That's a big impact on Clemson. That could really make a difference on who's going to possibly win the college football playoff and everything like that. We'll get into that. And the Chargers, because he was a lot of mock drafts for next year, and everybody's making their mock drafts. I don't make them this early. I make them 2 weeks out from the draft. But a lot of people make their mock drafts, early mock drafts. Most people have them going to the Chargers. Who knows? Is his draft stock going to fall now? What's going to happen? We got Cam Newton and the Patriots. A report came out the other day that Cam Newton and the Patriots were have discussed before, deals and stuff. I don't know if it's gonna happen. We're gonna give our opinion on it and touch on it a little bit. We got Aaron Rodgers, Packers, and Matt LaFleur. There's more news about the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, it really seems like he's done there. Really seems like he's either gonna leave early this season or this is it for him. It's either this season. This is probably it for him, I would imagine, with Aaron Rodgers. So that's what we got for today. 3 football things I know, but I've been talking a lot of baseball, and I'm so mad at baseball. I'm kind of just want to slow it down a little bit. Whenever baseball comes out with another plan, I'll talk more baseball. But baseball's really annoying me. I kind of want to focus on something else a little bit here. So let's get into it. So today or yesterday, you probably didn't. I don't know if the viewers who are watching this, I don't know if you know who he is. Justin Ross, one of the top receivers in college football, if not the best, one of the better receivers in college football. Him and Jamar Chase, both are up there. They collide for that probably number 1 receiver. They're very good. Jamar Chase, very good receiver. Lengthy, tall, gets balls one-on-one. Justin Ross, same thing. Guy's 6'4". 6'4". He's only 205 pounds. 6'4", kind of skinnier, lengthy, and strong. Very good player. I've seen him play a ton of times. Obviously, any college football fan, any person that really watches college football, 90% of the time Clemson is in a primetime game. They're in an ESPN spot. They're in an ABC spot. They're on the, they're always in a big, primetime game. They're on a Fox. There's something like that. Or, college football playoffs. It's them and Alabama. Last year it was them and LSU. Everybody knows who Clemson is. Like I said this a couple days ago. I don't know. I think it was on the subject. I don't know what it was, but there's those big name colleges, right? Same thing. Oh, I think it was LaMelo Ball. You got the big name colleges. You got the North Carolinas. You got this is for basketball. You got the North Carolinas. You got the Gonzagas. You got the Kentuckys. You got the Dukes, right? You got those great teams. LaMelo Ball's playing overseas. Same thing in football. You got the Michigans. You got the Clemsons. You got the Alabamas. You got the LSUs. You have the Penn States, right? You have the USCs. You got the Oregons, right? You have all those teams, right? So Clemson's a big name school. Justin Ross was a big name wide receiver, one of the better receivers in college football right now. I think his height and his strength really sometimes brings him out among other receivers. Right, very, very good player. And that's another thing. Clemson's losing a big piece of their wide receiving core in the draft when they lost T. Higgins. They obviously lost T. Higgins. T. Higgins obviously got drafted. And now T. Higgins went to go get drafted. He got drafted. Right, T. Higgins got drafted, and now Justin Ross, from what many reports came out yesterday, Justin Ross will miss the whole 2020 season if it's played, right? I hope it's played, But if it's played the whole 2020 season with some sort of a spinal injury, so some sort of thing in his back. I don't know quite what it is. It's some sort of like x-ray showed some sort of spinal injury. They didn't go into the whole logistics. I'm sure a report maybe a couple days from now or a day or two from now. You never get the full story. That's always how it is in sports, which I'm not mad at. I'm not complaining. It's always how it is because, they have to find out everything, right? They say, okay, it's a spinal injury, all right. Now you have to go into really depth. Like, where is it on the spine? They'll probably say, maybe lower back, upper back, what exact injury it is. All they said, x-rays show he'll be out for 2020 season with a spinal injury, which is a big problem, because he can't play with that, obviously. And even if he was trying to play through the pain, I bet you if it's like something in his spine, I bet you he probably did something when he was jumping up, maybe something with his neck when he was, maybe got hit or something. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a back doctor, I don't know. Like, maybe if anybody who's watching this maybe know. I don't know much how a spine. Maybe he probably got hit, or maybe it was something. Maybe it was a move he made. Maybe it was like something with his neck that he maybe turned it a different way or something, right? I don't know. I'm not a professor with back, so I'm not sure what exactly. All I know is it's obviously bad enough that he can't play the 2020 season. So obviously it's got to be a pretty bad injury if he can't play the remainder, or he can't play this upcoming season. Which who even knows if it's gonna be played? I think the NFL will get played. I definitely think the NFL will be played. I definitely do. I do think the NFL will be played, but the NFL will be played. Their season will be played. I think it's just college football. I don't know if college football will be played. Not sure about that. But like I said, it's really going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see really what happens with this Clemson team. If the season does end up playing, you might see a little bit different of a Clemson team. You might not see the Clemson team we're used to seeing. You might see maybe a little bit of a rusty Clemson team. You got probably one of the best quarterbacks in college football leading that team right now. Now that Justin Herbert went to the Chargers. Now that Tua's on the Dolphins. Burrow's to the Bengals. Trevor Lawrence is probably the best quarterback in college football right now. Jordan Love from Utah State, obviously to the Packers. He wasn't the best quarterback. But you could make the argument when Henry Ruggs, CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, T. Higgins, Michael Pittman Jr., Denzel Mims, now that they're all gone to the draft, Justin Ross is probably the best receiver in college right now. And now Clemson is losing him to the spine injury. Or spine injury. Don't know exactly, like I said, don't know exact logistics. Once I get those, I'll probably tell you guys. But don't know the spine injury, it's a spine injury. Don't know the exact logistics. That's all I'm going to say, okay? Quit with that. So, it's a spine injury. He's done for the season. So, probably the best football player, or the best receiver in college, with probably the best quarterback in college right now. Them two together, this Clemson team would have probably won a national championship. Because LSU, with Joe Burrow's gone, Oklahoma lost Jalen Hurts and CeeDee Lamb. Alabama lost Jerry Jeudy and Tua. Okay? Clemson only lost T. Higgins, and I think they lost a couple other guys. But they still have Travis Etienne. They still have Trevor Lawrence. They still have Justin Ross. Still have some very good players. Oh, they lost Isaiah Simmons. That's who else they lost. I knew they lost somebody on defense because I knew Clemson players were too good not to lose everybody. I know they lost some more players. I know that. Because I remember third round, I think it was, somebody got drafted. I think it was one of their, I forget who it was, 31, I think. I'm not sure. But they lost a lot of players. But, like I said, you have the Clemsons of the world in football. You're going to have the Kentuckys of the world in basketball, right? So Clemson will be able to recruit their way out of this problem. They will be. And that's what happens, man. Like if this would be happening to some team like, if there was some bad team out there, some bad teams, there's really bad teams out there that don't have good recruiting. I guess one of the lowlights of college football is probably Rutgers. They're probably one of the worst college football teams right now, if not the worst college football team. Liberty also is pretty bad. Northwestern, very bad. Very bad. They don't have a good team, but it's because of the recruiting. Right, Clemson will be able to recruit themselves out of the problem. Same thing with Kentucky. Kentucky lost a ton of players. Tyrese Maxey, Ashton Higgins, Emmanuel Quickley, Nick Richards. They lost all those guys to the draft. But they'll be okay because they're gonna recruit them. They're gonna recruit themselves out of that problem. They're already gonna get a 5-star in BJ Boston. They're already gonna get 2 other 5-stars. They'll get 3 5-stars. They'll probably maybe get 1 or 2 4-stars. Right? They'll be able to recruit themselves out of this. So Clemson, they'll be fine. Clemson's fans should not be worried. If you don't know what fan I am of college football, I like to watch college football. I like Miami. Miami is probably my favorite team. I root for Clemson late season, though. Like, meaning college football playoffs, college football final, championship for college football, I'm always rooting for Clemson. I actually have a Clemson sweatshirt. I'm always rooting for Clemson. Clemson is my go-to team in the playoffs. I always root for Clemson throughout the year. But my team that I always root for, if it was to be Clemson versus Miami, I would root for Miami. Let's just say Clemson versus Miami, because I'm a Miami fan. If you don't know why, I got into Miami from their jerseys. I really like their jerseys. And I got one, and ever since that, I've been in love with Miami. So, Miami Hurricanes, not Miami, Ohio. But yeah, I also like Oregon. I'll root for Oregon. I'll root for LSU. I root for a ton of teams. It's not like NFL where I have one team. That's the Jets. On game day, I ain't rooting for nobody else except the Jets. Right? So, but anyway, this is a huge loss for Clemson. He's a sophomore a guy was supposed to go to the draft. So, here's my thing with the Chargers. Many reports, sources I trust say that he's going to the Chargers with the 13th pick in next year's draft. Now, this is really, I know I'm already talking about next year's draft, which is a little crazy, I know. But what I'm trying to say, this could really hurt his draft stock. You saw what it did to Tua. A lot of people thought, oh boy, Tua is the first overall pick. He should be. He got injured, 5th overall pick, right? Same thing. If Tua doesn't get injured, Burrow is not the first overall pick. Tua is. Okay? Now, Justin Ross, from what people are saying, behind Jamar Chase, he's the second receiver off the board next year's draft. Could that make a difference? Possibly, right? Now you gotta look, could it make a difference? It could definitely make a difference now. It could really make a difference now, right? Now, all of a sudden, Justin Ross is an injury, spine injury, right? That's why these teams have to wait. They have to wait and see what type of injury is this. Because I'm sure teams are aware of this. And I'm sure there's already teams. Dude, guys, whoever's watching this video, believe me, teams start scouting players 2 years in advance. They have their own scouts. Scouts are probably on Justin Ross right now. I bet you scouts are on Justin Ross. Like, you're always scouts. It's not the head coaches that are scouting them. It's usually the head coaches do scout them, but during the season, there's other scouts too. There's scouts scouting other players in the league. They're scouting free agents. They look at their old highlights. Every franchise has their own little scout group where they just go out to college games and they scout players. Justin Ross has been scouted since last year. He was a very good receiver last year, and he's only going to get better this year. But now with the spine injury, what's going to happen? Is Justin Ross now going to play another year in college to show that he's still got it? Because now you know what teams are going to be thinking. Oh, well, he's got the spine injury. What's going to happen in his combine? Is it worth taking the risk? Right now, what's going to happen? All these things are going to start to float into these franchises' heads, and now Justin Ross's draft stock just went from second best receiver to possibly maybe a second round player. Right? It's true. It really is. It happens all the time. Guys get injured. They go to the draft. Tua probably would have been the first pick. He got injured. He's dropped 4 spots now. Now he got the 5th pick with the Dolphins. Right? Same thing. It's obvious. It's a clear reasoning here. Because teams don't want to take the risk and grab an injured player. They don't want to take the risk. They don't want to waste their first round draft pick to get an injured player who's never going to bounce back from an injury. Like I said, I don't know the history of the injury. It's unlike the Nets, Kevin Durant. I know the history of a torn Achilles. Not many players have bounced back very good from it. I don't know the exact injury, and I don't know how players have bounced back from it in football. I don't know if any player big name player has bounced back from it good. I know there's a ton of players with torn Achilles. Some did not bounce back from it good. Some bounced back. There's been one player that really bounced back from it very well. Right? That's why everybody's eyes on KD. How is he going to return? Right? Justin Ross now. I'm going to be really looking. I'm really going to be looking. How is this guy going to return? What's the stuff he has to go through to get his body back to 100%? Right? What is he going to have to do to get there, right? That's what I'm really, really, really wondering. Really, really wondering. So, like I said, now we go back to a real, part of it with the whole Clemson team. It's going to be tough for Clemson, right? This is not going to be an easy thing to give up. Justin Ross, a very good receiver. In my opinion, since T. Higgins is gone, since Michael Pittman Jr. is gone, since Denzel Mims is gone, since KJ Hamler is gone, since CeeDee Lamb's gone, since Jefferson is gone, since Judy's gone, since Henry Ruggs is gone, right? Now Justin Ross is probably the best receiver in college, one of the best receivers in college football, if not the best. And now he has a spine injury. Who knows what's going to happen now? Hopefully he bounces back from it good, and hopefully his draft stock doesn't get... His draft stock's going to go downhill a little bit. It's going to go downhill. I don't know if the Chargers are going to pick him up at 13 anymore. Let's just say this. Let's just say after this college football season, he's feeling great. Combine's amazing. All of a sudden, they're like, okay, he bounced back great. Then you do it. I just see maybe Justin Ross not going this year in the draft now. I could see him maybe going next year. Playing one more year of college football to show everybody, oh, look, I still got it in me. I can still go out there on the field and make a huge impact for the team. So, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. This is going to be a story I'm going to track. It's definitely going to be an interesting story. Comment down below. What do you think? Do you think Justin Ross will be okay? Or do you think teams are going to do what they did to Tua, Bengals do what they did to Tua and completely pass up on him and have his draft team drop back a little bit? What are they going to do? He ain't a first-round pick. He ain't a first pick overall. He's a first-round pick. He's a first-round talent. But now, you got to think, first-round talent, teams might get him in the second round. They might get a first-round talent in the second round. Jets got one in Denzel Mims. I believe Denzel Mims was the first-round talent we got in the second round. Same with the Giants. The Giants got probably one of the best remaining players in the second round. They got a Xavier McKinney. Probably the best first-round talent out of the whole second-round players. They got him in the second round, right? A lot of good guys. Right now, what's going to happen is Justin Ross going to fall. A team's going to swoop him up at the number 60th pick in the draft, and he's going to be unreal. Definitely going to be an interesting story. What do you think? Do you think Justin Ross is going to be okay, or do you think he's going to return another year? It's definitely going to be an interesting story. So here's what Clemson is losing by Justin Ross having a spine injury. 66 receptions last season, 865 yards, 8 touchdowns, 13.1 is his average. You can only assume this year those stats would have went up because T. Higgins isn't there. Trevor Lawrence's main target's now officially Justin Ross. Last season, Trevor Lawrence shared the ball between T. Higgins and Justin Ross, right? Now, Justin Ross is the main receiver on that team. Those stats you can only see in maybe 2-3 more touchdowns. Maybe he gets a 1,000-yard season. Maybe easily 10-15 more receptions. And his average per play probably stays the same, 13 yards. Maybe averages a little bit more. Just because maybe they had Higgins on the deep route most of the time. Maybe they had Ross coming across the middle. Ross, good deep ball threat. A very good deep ball threat. Tall, lengthy, strong. Can jump up one-on-one against many corners and get the ball. He reminds me of a little bit of a Justin, or not a Justin. I was about to say reminds me of a Justin Ross. He reminds me a little bit of a DeAndre Hopkins. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins better, but he reminds me of him. Tall, lengthy, one-on-one. Against a corner that's a little bit smaller than him, he'll win that battle 90% of the time. Very good receiver. I've seen this guy play a ton of times. I've seen this guy play. And Dabo Swinney came out yesterday and said, it's going to be interesting. He said, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. But Justin Ross, it's going to be, like I said 3 times already, it's going to be a very interesting story to see. I want to track this story. It's going to be very interesting to see really what's going to happen. And if he's going to stay in college and play one more year, or is he just going to go with Tua? Is he going to go with the Tua route? Don't want to risk another injury. Let me just go to the NFL. Let me get trained by some of the greatest, coaching staffs and, great trainers and everything like that. Do I just go right to there? It's going to be a decision. It's definitely going to be interesting. Throughout his career, Is at 89 receptions. That can't be correct. 112 receptions, 1,865 yards, 16.2 was his average, and a total of 17 touchdowns. And his 74 was his longest play. Like I said, deep ball threat, 24 or 74 yards was his longest. Whew, it's pretty good. So that's what I got for Justin Ross. Like I said, very interesting. Going to be very interesting. I want to track this a lot, and I want to see. So one thing I want everybody to comment down below, if you're interested in on a story. Do you think Justin Ross will return to Clemson, play one more year to show everybody that he's still got it in him, or will he go and say, you know what, I'm going to the draft. I'm done. I feel like I'm 100%. I've been training so much with, my personal trainers, people I know. I'm going to the draft like Tua did. Is he going to go the Tua route? Or is he going to not really a risky decision, or is he going to kind of risk it one more year? Because, if he gets injured again, his draft stock's going to go from first round, maybe second round, to easily third round. Right? What he's going to do. Because you don't want to risk getting injured again, and all of a sudden teams really be like, oh, we already got a receiver the draft before, we don't need him. All of a sudden, first round guy, a year before that goes, and now is in the fourth round pick, right? But it's going to be interesting. I think he'll go the Tua route, just because I think players, sometimes they feel, if I get injured again, man, this could really, I could be going like this, and then I get injured again, and I'm almost all of a sudden down here, and you got me in the fourth round instead. Right? It's going to be interesting. So that's what I got for Justin Ross. I think Clemson will be okay. Like I said, Clemson's fans out there, don't worry. You'll be okay. Clemson's will recruit their way out of this. That's what they will do. And they got other good receivers as well. That Dabo Swinney will train and just make them great so they can go play in the NFL again. That's how these schools are. Right? That's how these schools get dominant. Kentucky loses their whole starting five to the NBA draft. It's okay. They'll recruit themselves out of it. Right? Every school does it. Every big school. Duke did perfectly fine. Zion, RJ leave, still a top 10 team in the nation, right? Because they recruited themselves out of it. What else can I say? So that's what I got for the Clemson Tigers and their big receiver going down. Next up, we got Cam Newton with the Patriots. Many reports have been going out. I'm still surprised that Cam Newton's still sitting in free agency. As a matter of fact, I would have pictured Cam Newton going to a team before Jameis Winston did. So now we got Cam Newton, and many reports flew out the other day about Cam Newton possibly going to the Patriots. Now, like I said, Cam Newton, I just said it 15 seconds ago. I'm surprised Cam Newton has not gotten picked up by a team, and Jameis Winston has. I am very surprised. I wouldn't say I'm surprised in a good way, because I don't know if that's how I really want to say it. I would say I'm surprised in, I guess, a bad way. Because Cam Newton should have been, I think, off. I think a lot of people are really, really, really kind of beating up on Cam Newton. And like I said, I like Cam Newton a lot. I like him. I like Cam Newton. I know you guys, some people, I know many people who don't. I like Cam Newton. I think he's a very good player. He's a very good player. In my opinion, very good player. And like I said, it's going to be very interesting to see what actually happens to him. Whether he goes to a team, whether he's going to go to a team, whether he's going to, stay in free agency this whole season. It's really, 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 really going to be interesting. So anyway, so Cam Newton, so everybody's talking about this. Everybody's like, oh well, you got this, you got this, you got this. So Cam Newton, everybody's talking about, and I don't agree with this because you can't hold a guy to this high standards when he's getting older. He's got an injury already. His injury might affect him more. You can't hold a guy to this high standards. This is what I'm hearing from so many people. So many people. Is he going to be back to Cam Newton, MVP Cam? You can't set him to that high standard. You can't go ahead and say, oh, Cam Newton, is he going to be back to MVP form? No, probably not, because he has an injury history. He got the foot problem. It's not going to be easy to go back to MVP if your foot's going to be lingering for the rest of your career. Right? You can't make that comparison. You can't go to 2020 Cam Newton and say, oh, let's go back to 2015 Cam when he won MVP and the Panthers were the best team in the NFL even though they lost to the Broncos in Super Bowl 50. Let's go back to that Cam and see how good it is, right? No, you can't do that. I'm sorry. You can't. Sure, you could go ahead and say, oh, is he going to be back to Cam? Yeah, sure, you could always say that. Is that fair? Not really. Not really. Right? You just can't say that. Like, that's almost like saying some player has a bad injury, comes back, is sitting in free agency, a horrible injury. A couple years before that, he won MVP before his injury. Now he comes back. Everybody knows he hasn't rebounded well. He's sitting in free agency. Is this guy going to be back to his old MVP form? Probably not. Prove me wrong, Cam Newton. He's not on the team yet, but prove me wrong. Right? I like Cam Newton. I wouldn't be mad if he plays good this season. Now, what team's going to pick him up? I have no clue. I've said this since day one they got rid of Tom Brady. There's a little guy I like to call Cam Newton. Pretty good quarterback. Patriots should have got him. Instead, they messed up on the draft. I give them a C as their grade in the draft. They have Jarrett Stidham, who I don't know, unless if I'm missing something crazy, I don't think he's going to be a great quarterback. And then you got Brian Hoyer, who's been pretty much a journeyman throughout his career in the NFL, bouncing from the 49ers to the Colts to the Patriots to all these different teams as a backup most of the time. And now they're saying Brian Hoyer's going to go save this Patriots team. I don't know. Like I said, it's Bill Belichick. The guy's a genius. So obviously, it's either he's going to make Jarrett Stidham the next Tom Brady, or this is going to be a team that's going to go through a long time of a rebuild. Because if they don't have a good year this year, they may. Let's just say Bill Belichick, they don't have a good year next year, the year after that. They don't have 2 good straight years. This team went from dynasty, best dynasty ever, to back to the old Patriots back in the 90s and the early 2000s. Right? So, Cam Newton, you can't make the comparison and go ahead and say to the guy, oh, is he going to be back to old Cam? I can't say yes to that because we haven't seen him really play. Obviously, from what I've heard, his foot, he never had that big foot injury. Then he got the foot injury. You really can't start making comparisons. Is he going to be back to old Cam? You really can't say that. You really can't say that. That's not really a fair comparison at saying, like, why don't you do this? Is Cam Newton going to be back to is he going to be back to average at least? Because like I said, prove me wrong, I'll mark this pod and I'll say it. Cam Newton going to be another MVP? I don't know. I believe he's still got gas left in the tank to play very good for another team. I don't know about MVP because you got to look at the guys that are rising now. You got the Patrick Mahomes of the world. He's unreal. Guy's unreal. He's going to win easily another MVP. He's going to win a couple more, I believe. You got Lamar Jackson of the world, right? Come on. Really? Drew Brees, too. Not Drew Brees. Michael Thomas. DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know if Kyler Murray's an MVP, but he played good last year. If he only gets better because they're only adding around him. If you were to ask a fan, who would you vote for? Who would you vote for, Mahomes or Jackson or Cam? 90% of them would probably say Mahomes or Jackson. The other 10% would be whatever team Cam's on. Right? I'm sorry, but there's too many young talents in this league. You got the Michael Thomas who can easily win an MVP, right? You got him. Saquon Barkley, honestly, I could see him. I really could. Christian McCaffrey, right? DeAndre Hopkins, if he gets really good. If Kyler Murray all of a sudden sprouts out because they only added with him, they only added good help with him, they only added a good receiver, in my opinion, the best receiver in the NFL. I talked about that yesterday on the pod if you want to go watch that. It's going to be hard for Cam Newton to win another MVP. Do I think if Cam rehabs okay, does good, right, is feeling good about himself? Yes, I think he can get back to average. I think he can get back to average. Sure, maybe 6 out of 10. He ain't going to beat Cam 5 years ago when he was the best quarterback in the NFL. I'm sorry, he probably ain't. He's probably not, right? You look at the guys with the injury history. It's just, not even just foot injuries in general, just injuries in general. It's very hard to bounce back from an injury where you've barely played in the past 2 years and all of a sudden be back in MVP form. So first, what I want to make clear first, making MVP comparisons, asking, is he going to be back to MVP form? You can't say that, because I don't think he is. Like I said, prove me wrong, prove me wrong, prove me wrong, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong all you would like to. I, at this moment, don't see him being back to MVP form. I see him 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Not 10 out of 10 where he was taking the best team in the NFL to the Super Bowl, to being the best quarterback, right? I don't know. But you also got to look who he had around him in that time. He had Luke Kuechly on defense in his prime, right? He had Greg Olsen. He had a very good Greg Olsen player, right? Got to look at that team too. Whatever team is going to go on now, a couple teams that are still could use quarterbacks. Patriots, receiving core, yeah, defense is pretty good. Receiving core, Julian Edelman, meh. Tight ends, don't even know. So that's why. You put them on a team with an excellent receiving core, sure. But teams with the excellent receiving cores, they don't need a quarterback, right? The Buccaneers, they have one of the best receiving cores. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and then obviously a tight end in Gronk, right? They don't need a quarterback. They got Brady. They're perfectly fine. You look at the teams with the best. Saints, they have a very good receiving core. Michael Thomas, second best receiver in the NFL. They don't need a quarterback, right? Redskins, they could use a quarterback. Look at their receiving core. Patriots, they could use a quarterback. Look at their receiving core. Right? It's the teams with the good receiving cores, and they don't have the teams with the good receiving cores have good quarterbacks. So if Cam Newton were to go to a team, it's going to be a team that probably doesn't have a great receiving core. Right? Going to be interesting. But what I'm trying to say is, like, Cam Newton with the Patriots. So let's get into the whole Patriots thing. Patriots, I feel like, are avoiding trying to get a good quarterback. Okay, we got Brian Hoyer. That's going to be our man. Woo! Brian Hoyer, win us a Super Bowl. Right? Yes, let's go. We got our dude. We got our guy in Jarrett Stidham. Woo! Win us a Super Bowl. Really? Jarrett Stidham and Brian Hoyer are going to be the 1-2 punch. They're going to give you the 1-2 Mayweather 3 for McGregor. Really? I don't know. I think this would be an excellent move. An absolute excellent move if Cam Newton and the Patriots can come to an agreement. I'm telling you, that would change the way people think about this Patriots team. Now, I ain't talking about Super Bowl. I ain't talking about winning the division. Maybe slipping as a wild card team. Maybe instead of going, in my opinion, 4-12, 5-11, maybe they hit 6-10, 7-9. Maybe they're talking December. But I'll tell you what, if the Patriots don't get a good quarterback, mark this pod too, okay? Mark this pod. They don't get a good quarterback, Patriots are going to have a tough season. Those 16 games of their season, in my opinion, would be miserable if they don't get a good quarterback. I'm sorry, but Jarrett Stidham and Brian Hoyer, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I've been listening to so many people, I just don't see it happening. Now, Patriots fans, in their head is not a Super Bowl. They got their 6. They're perfectly fine. They should be fine. They got what they needed. I think what some Patriots fans think, though, is that Jarrett Stidham, because you look at it, you look at how it is, the stories are almost identical. And this is why everybody got worried when Baker Mayfield got drafted. Is because Jarrett Stidham is just like Tom Brady. Wasn't highly rated in college. Tom Brady went to Michigan. Nobody talked about him. Got drafted late in the draft. Tom Brady got drafted late in the draft. Both were average in college. Were average at best. Tom Brady was average at best. Both have average combines. Tom Brady had an average combine. Right? Both got drafted later on in draft. Tom Brady got drafted later on in draft. Right? The stories are almost identical. And that's why I think a lot of people are like, oh, Jarrett Stidham. Same story, same thing. That's why I jumped on the boat too. Baker Mayfield and Johnny Manziel, their stories were almost identical with how they got to the NFL, the things they did, people, how they rated them, their style of play. That's why everybody was worried. And even the Browns said, insiders said that the Browns always, when they called Baker Mayfield and they were asking him things about him, they said, are we getting a Baker, or are we going to get you, or are we going to get another Johnny? Right? That's why I think a lot of Patriots fans are getting hyped up, because they see the stories are exactly the same. Obviously, with Baker Mayfield and Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield, in my opinion, is way better than Johnny Manziel. His career has not turned out to be Johnny Manziel. But Jarrett Stidham, I think Patriots fans, when they look at it, it's almost identical how they got to the NFL. I think that's why a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know. Could we see a Jarrett Stidham dynasty growing here? I don't know. Here's my other thing, though. Jarrett Stidham's coming on to one of the worst receiving corps in the NFL. Tom Brady came on with not a great receiving corps, but probably better than this one. I don't know. Like I said, they don't have a tight end. They have Julian Edelman, who's older and is only really the best, and he's the best in the postseason. And that's if they get there. He has never made it to a Pro Bowl. So the stats show postseason is Julian Edelman's time. Do they think the Patriots are going to touch the postseason this year? No. They get Cam Newton? All right, now we got something brewing. They get Cam Newton and maybe another good, decent receiver? Okay. All right. Everybody hold up. Maybe we got something moving here. But for the time being, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. So, Cam Newton, if he were to go to the Patriots, that's a good team. I think that would be pretty good. We don't have a great receiving core, but Cam Newton's better than Jarrett Stidham and Brian Hoyer at quarterback. I'll tell you that for sure. So, here's my other thing of the Patriots, right? I think Bill Belichick, and I think this is kind of, a lot of people are kind of saying this, and I kind of say it a little bit. I think Bill Belichick thinks, I think all of us know, and this reminds me of the whole Packers thing. I think Bill Belichick has something secret happening. He's got something secretly happening. He does. I'm not gonna lie. He really does. He's got something up his sleeve. That's either going to help the Patriots, which I think is going to help him. I think it will help him. It's kind of funny, though. It's because it's almost like the same thing with the Packers, and I'm going to talk about this in the next segment. Matt LaFleur and the Packers team and the Packers franchise, they have something brewing. I don't know what it is, but they have something against Rodgers. They're secretly doing something. They're quietly getting Rodgers completely out of Green Bay. They're completely leave the state of Wisconsin, please. Completely leave. You're no longer a cheesehead, right? They're secretly doing that. That's what I feel like the Patriots are. I feel like Bill Belichick's underground in a vault, secretly dissecting every part of Jarrett Stidham's game and making him a perfect quarterback. I don't know, man. I just feel like that's going to be how it is. Knowing how the Patriots have been the past years and years and years, the past 15, 16 years, past 20 years, how the Patriots have been, I wouldn't be surprised to see them pull something completely out of the middle of nowhere and make the playoffs without Cam Newton. But I think if we're all going by normal stats, looking at the numbers, looking at how teams have done with quarterbacks drafted this round, everything, Cam Newton would be a great addition to the Patriots. So do I think the Patriots should get Cam? Yes, he has an injury history. But you know what you do? You sign him to a 2-year deal, not much money, sign him to a 2-year deal, a decent amount of money, because Cam's going to want it. You sign him to like a 2-year deal. He plays horrible this season, get rid of him. He plays good this season, plays good the next season. You extend him, all of a sudden, Cam's not going to be your future, but all of a sudden, maybe you have 3-4 years of a good Cam Newton. Maybe he gets you to one playoff. I don't think Super Bowl. Cam Newton to the Patriots would be a good move. I believe it. I believe it would be a good move. I think it would be better than having Brian Hoyer and Jarrett Stidham. I'll tell you that for sure. You have at his prime the best quarterback in the NFL in Cam Newton. Do I think he's going to get that way? No. I think he'll be average to a little bit above average at best. But like I said, I don't know. Brian Hoyer and Jarrett Stidham, really? Really, that's going to be your formula for success? Success? I don't know. I don't buy into it. Cam Newton last year only had 572 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's because he played 2 games. And I know everybody always says this. Oh, Cam Newton had 0 touchdowns last year. He had 0, 0, 0. Oh, look at his numbers. He played 2 games. Then they're all like, oh, he went 0-2. They didn't win a single game. Well, they played 14 games without him and 2 games with him. Same thing with Kyrie Irving. Everybody's like, oh, look, the Nets are doing better without Kyrie. Yeah, because the Nets have played so many more games without Kyrie. You can't compare it. You can't compare an 0-2 record. Right? That's almost like saying, oh, Cam Newton goes 1-0. And then they take or goes 1-0. And everybody's like, oh, get Cam Newton, or whatever. Let's just say Cam Newton's the backup. Right? You bring him in week 16. He goes 1-0. Everybody's like, oh. All right, the Panthers that season the Panthers that season, that's their only win. It's Cam Newton, 1-0, right? Woo, everybody, start Cam. He won 1 game. He only lost 2 games. You can't go by the 14 game. You can't go by 14 games played by the other players, the other quarterback, to 2 games played by Cam Newton. You can't even compare the numbers. In 2018, for example, 320 completions, 471 attempts, 3,395 yards, 24 touchdowns. This guy is a very good quarterback if he's healthy. Like I said, probably not MVP form anymore. Average to slightly above average, though. So, if the Patriots get Cam, that would make things interesting. Very interesting. And now, you shake up that AFC East a little bit. I still think the Bills would win the AFC East, but now you might see 2 playoff teams coming out of the AFC East. Because right now I only see 1. I see the Bills winning the AFC East, and that's it. The next team at the moment to make the playoffs would probably be the Dolphins. And it would probably be the Jets and the Patriots. But if the Patriots get Cam, all of a sudden in the AFC East, you might see 2 playoff teams come out of there now. You might see it. It's definitely interesting. Comment down below. If Cam Newton goes to the Patriots, do you think it will make a good impact on the Patriots? Positive or negative? I think it would make a positive impact. I really do. I think it'll be good. Because I think also if Cam Newton goes to the Patriots, that might attract some good receivers, some decent receivers. They might get a decent receiver. Because Cam Newton's a good quarterback. Maybe a receiver would want to play under him. I'm not sure, though. So now we move into the whole thing with the Packers. And I just talked about this with Bill Belichick. I really feel like the Packers are doing something secretly. They're inside of a vault. They're looking at all the analytics. Got their eyes dialed in. Matt LaFleur's got nobody else in there. Got his eyes dialed in. They're thinking of a plan to secretly say, Rodgers, if you could just leave the city of Wisconsin, or leave the state of Wisconsin for us and just, see you later. I believe that's what they're trying to do. I believe it. I really do. So, like I said, the Green Bay Packers have had Aaron Rodgers for a long time now. He's been very successful. If you ask a Green Bay Packers fan, I know a couple. You ask a Green Bay Packers fan how they think about him, he's been nothing but a success for them. He got them a Super Bowl. He got them a lot of good playoffs. They've been one of the more consistent teams in the past 10 years. They remind me a lot of the Seahawks. I always feel like the Packers are always in it, although they had the bad year, not last year, the year before that. Last year they were 1 game away from the NFC Championship game, but that game was really the the defining line right there that I don't think Rodgers can get to another Super Bowl, because you look at the team he got beat by. He got beat by a bunch of young players, by the Garoppolos, by the Deebo Samuels of the world, by the Bosa's of the world, right? He got beat by the young teams, and that goes to show you, it really does. It has a perfect proof to go to show you that Rodgers, since he's older, he's not going to be able to beat these young teams. If the Packers would have made the Super Bowl, I think they would have gotten blown out by the Chiefs, because the young people are beating the Packers, right? The young teams are beating the Rodgers, because the Rodgers of the world right now, the older quarterbacks of the world, are starting to get noticed, and teams are starting to really take over. That NFC Championship game last year, when they got demolished, that was a defining line. That really was the defining line. For me, not even as a Packer, no, I'm not a Packers fan. For me, just as a football sports fan in general, that was a defining line. It goes to show you that Rodgers, I don't know if he can make it to another Super Bowl, because he don't got much left in the tank, and young teams are going to beat him. He's going to get beat by the young stars of the world. He's going to get beat by the Mahomeses of the world. He's going to get beat by the Lamar Jacksons of the world. He's going to get beat by, let's just say Tua becomes a star. He's going to get beat by the Tuas of the world, right? Because the young players are taking over this league. It happens all the time. Rodgers' time is up. That's why I think the Packers are going to get rid of him. That's why the Packers are secretly trying to get rid of him. They don't want to come out and publicly say, oh, we want to get rid of Rodgers, because you know it's going to start. It's going to be the same thing if Antonio Brown were to go to an NFL team. The media would be all around your facility, all around your press room. You would never be able to get rid of the media. People would literally be showing up at Matt LaFleur's house right now and asking him questions. That's why the Packers are secretly doing this. And they're trying to sugarcoat it. They're trying to say, oh, we want to see what Rodgers can do. Oh, Jordan Love, we got him, to be a good learner and everything, things like that. They're trying to sugarcoat it. But really, they're trying to get rid of it. And I don't blame them. Rodgers has always had a little bit of an attitude. Matt LaFleur, I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to make that his team. He's like, all right, Rodgers, we get it. You were great. Now go leave. Now let's bring in Jordan Love. They're secretly trying to get him out. They're secretly trying to do it. And it's kind of obvious. They trade up. If they get a quarterback, okay. But the fact that they traded up to get a quarterback, to get Jordan Love, right? Interesting. That just goes to show you that they're really like, oh, all right, come on. Let's go. Rodgers, you got one more year. All right, then it's time to switch the book. Same thing with Favre and Rodgers, right? Rodgers should honestly talk to Favre right now, because Favre was in Rodgers' shoes 10 years ago, or whatever, 13, 14 years ago, or 12 years ago, he was in his shoes. Rodgers was in Favre's shoes, or Favre was in Rodgers' shoes, or Rodgers was in Jordan Love's shoes 12 years ago. Now, Rodgers is in Favre's shoes 12 years later, right? Now Rodgers knows how it feels to get swapped, because it's going to happen. Unless if the Packers magically, and I don't know if Rodgers is going to play this year. I think he will. I think next year will be it for him. I don't think he's going to play after this season. Now, do I think he could get traded this year? I don't know. It's going to be hard, especially with the whole virus thing, because they can't talk to him face to face and say things like that. It's all virtual. But like I said, I think he'll probably go next year. I think he'll play one more year. Jordan Love will learn under a very good quarterback. You can call him great. He's had a very good career. He's going to learn under him. Rodgers is going to go leave, probably sign a 2-year deal like Brady did. Brady, I don't think signed a 2-year deal. I don't know exactly. Just he's going to go sign a 2-year deal somewhere down in the warm, maybe in a California team. He might sign, I don't know, the Chargers if Philip Rivers is gone. He's going to go sign somewhere warm, and that's going to be his retirement. He's going to get out of cold Green Bay. Tom Brady got out of cold New England to go down to Tampa, to go down to warm Tampa play, to play football 8 games down in Tampa in the warm weather. Because, it's starting to get to retirement now, right? Aaron Rodgers is going to probably go play with a California team, maybe the Chargers, because Philip Rivers might be out of this year, right? Rodgers is going to set up. Rodgers is going to be like a Brady. They're both going to go into the warm weather. They're already going to get their vacations planned. They're going to go into a nice resort. Believe me, Rodgers will be okay. Rodgers will be fine. Jordan Love, though, is going to boot Rodgers out of there. and they're going to do it slowly. They're going to do it quietly. Rodgers, I don't think will be in a Packers uniform next season. I don't think so. Don't think so. So anyway, so that's what I got for the podcast today. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. It's definitely going to be interesting with the whole, Packers situation and things like that. That's what I got for today. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers, he'll probably go somewhere else, without a doubt. But I think he'll play one more year, and he's going to be out ski. And forget about it. That will be Jordan Love's team. There, now. Or Jordan Love's team. So that's what I got. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back at it tomorrow with another podcast. We got more stuff to talk about Baker Mayfield. There's some Mahomes news with his whole contract thing. Should he get the money? You probably know that answer. I said Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. Pay up. The Chiefs should pay up. A ton of other stuff. I had like 12 topics or whatever. A ton of other stuff to talk about. And if there's any more news. Also, I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow or the day after that. I'm talking about I'm going to give you my top 10 best shooters in NBA history. I'm going to do a couple more of those. I did the NBA all time. I did the baseball all time. I'm thinking about doing the NFL all time, and I might do the NBA again. So watch out for those videos coming up soon. I don't know if I'm going to do it tomorrow or if I'm going to do it the day after that. I don't know. All I know is the top 10 best shooters of all time is coming soon. So just watch out for that. Anyway, that's what I got. Comment down below what you think is going to happen with Rodgers and the Clemson situation, and if Cam Newton to the Patriots would be a good move. Anyway, so that's what I got. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you all back here tomorrow, and thanks for watching.